Welcome. Namaste, beautiful souls. This is my Advent calendar, day 6. And today I thought I would reflect on number study and how important it is to get to know the numbers. 2026, 2 plus 2 plus 6 adds up to 10. And so I chose the number 10 to focus on today, as I will be preparing for and reflecting quite deeply on what I might be doing for Card of the Year readings for 2026. So this is both a tip and something to do with the cards other than actually read them. Good morning, Mary Beth. And for those of you that are a little confused, I did put this in writing but didn't say it aloud. On Saturdays and Sundays, I will be broadcasting at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can do the conversion for UK time and European times. So I apologize for not saying that aloud yesterday. So tomorrow will be at the same time. Studying the numbers independently I built this into my Tarot Foundations 1 course. It, I think, is the first step in the mandala of studying the tarot. Studying the cards individually creates a lot of problems. It creates a bit of panic when we're supposed to know what a particular card means, when really, if we had been studying any given number, we're going to have likely at least 6 cards that intersect with one another. And those layers will build upon each other as you learn other correspondences to that particular number. But I'm getting ahead of myself, and I want to read to you a poem. Poetry is very much a part of my preparation for reading and studying, collecting my mind and settling down. I have a couple of tarot books that have incredible poetry about the numbers. Often read from those, and most certainly from my Wheat Moon journal. And often I will go back to other previous years and look at some of the art or the poetry. And I wanted to keep this on the screen for you, but I do need to move my mic slightly so I can see. And I thought this was kind of fitting as well to connecting yesterday's reflection with the number 10 and the circle. And this writing is called We're All Downstream. Upwind or downstream, it doesn't much matter. We're all affected. See, that's the way with it, living. I'm going to have to, it's probably easier to read right from the screen, but it's too small. Just give me 1 second here. See if I can do this. It's just the lighting is a little different. All right, that's the way. See, that's the way with it, a living being. Life isn't to be compartmentalized. It can be divided up with railways, roads, flight paths, fences, imaginary borders. All. But the air, the water, the soil, and the blood, it's all connected either way. It all moves downstream, borders be damned. That's the way it is. It can't be regulated, only protected or invaded. Blood and breath move. What moves into the earth, out of us, moves back into us, out of the earth. In the end, it's all one thing, upwind, downwind, upstream, downstream. It's all one living, breathing, blood, pumping, flesh and soil, water and oil creature of being. We're connected, and not by roadways so much as by the waterways, the earthways. Like it or not, we're all downstream. And as I read that, I am thinking of political connections and just health and all kinds of wellness connections here. And when we sit down to reflect on the number 10 for 2026, the card that will more than likely come to mind first will be the wheel of fortune. And you may have a different title on this card in other decks, and I encourage you to take out lots of 10 cards. And I do have some minor 10s I'm going to speak to as well this morning. This number 10 is such a pivotal place. There is a richness, and I did talk about the number 9 a couple of times already, that the number 9 it's ripe and it's full and it's complete. And in the number 10, things have already begun to change, and yet we're still amongst the beauty of all that we have seen and accomplished on our journey thus far. And the number 10, if you think about that as a theme for an entire year, really is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate bounty, to celebrate all that we have experienced. I think it's a wonderful year to pack up and move, a wonderful year to retire. And when I think the very first day I talked about the planet Jupiter being associated with this card, and my closest association to this is that the guru energy, the wisdom, the greatness of that planet and its connection to this number. We have been through a lot. We've learned a lot. And so before you sit down to do a reading for 2026, before you sit down, and if you're going to listen to any of my readings for your particular card of the year, and of course I'm going to start with a reading for the number 10, I encourage you to sit and think about, well, what if I were to move in 2026? What if I were to retire? What if I were to leave this job that I had been at for maybe 10 years? What if I were to say goodbye to this relationship I've been struggling in for several years? I feel like it's time. 2026 is going to be a year where change is, it just feels like a natural part of the current. And I love the writings. I didn't credit the author. The author goes by the name Earth Dance 2023. And the lovely artwork is by Fiona McAuliffe. And when I decided to do this morning, I was kind of inspired by those little circles I cut out yesterday, and thinking, and I loved what Clevis said, that these little circles are little wheels taking me into 2026. So I encourage you to start that, and maybe just pull out a few wheel cards and start to do some journaling, or simply just sit with the card. And we can wander into the card, we can sit in a short meditation, or if you manage to get into the zone, staying a bit longer. The 20th Arcanum is often written with XX. And when I see the 20th Arcanum, the deck on the left is Herb Crafters, and the deck on the right is called the Daydream Tarot. Neither of these decks that I chose here today have XX for the 20th Arcanum. But I think it's a wonderful way to reflect upon the 20th Arcanum as a double change. It's almost like X to the second power. It is an amplified wheel of fortune. And when it is adorned with the name awakening, I think we can get or understand that the level of change here is really taking us and transforming who we truly are. Good morning. Welcome. Hello, Gerald. It's lovely to see you. Haven't seen you in ages. And Saskia Kalispara, welcome to you as well. And so I can't say enough about just sit with numbers. Just sit with a number. You might want to sit with a number for a week. And I was also, as you know, I decided to do this morning, and I thought, well, too bad it's not December 10th today. But maybe this is an opportunity to kind of mark December 10th on your calendar and think about how you might honor the number 10 on that day. Is there any way you can connect with the number 10? And just sort of, if that's a number that you want to work with, it's certainly one that I am going to be working with as I prepare ahead for these readings. One of the things I'm going to show you both of these decks, love about the number 10 in the Herb Crafter Tarot is that the theme here, now you can see the sheer abundance of growth in all of these 10 cards. There is just so much. It's almost like the garden is, or the land has exploded with life. But the theme of the 10s in the Herb Crafter Tarot is composting, compost and rebirth. These are ground covers that we spread on the garden that will replenish the soil and nourish the soil. The idea of composting is giving back to the earth, nourishing the earth so that we can grow again. And I love this idea in this deck. And just the artwork is one of plenty. And many of the cover crops are ones that we may even consider weeds and not want in our garden. A lot of people, when you see horsetail in your garden, it's like, I need to get this out of here because it's going to grow everywhere. And developing new relationships with plants has been a real gift of working with this deck. Hi Donna, welcome to you. I just really think that energetically, it helps us prepare for readings. But part of me this year, sitting and offering things to do independently of actually reading, is to do these things. Because when we cut up our cards, when we work with certain aspects of study of the tarot, without actually doing reading, it gives us permission to have time just to do that. We don't have to study the number 10 and do a reading. We just sit with the number 10 and make it a focus. Who knows? Maybe you will see, and of course you will, you're going to see, if that's your number, you're going to see the number 10 other places that you go. You'll see it on license plates and signs. You'll see it all over the place. And you'll start to think about the power of connection and really understanding The number 10 is a poignant place. And when I think about the 20th Arcanum, and it's really quite cleverly done in this deck. And by the way, I never did get a response from the creators, publisher of this deck. I do still have a funny feeling it comes out of Korea. It just has that feel, but I'm not sure. You're going to see in the tens in this. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place. In this deck, all of the tens, there's a path opening going forward. In the Judgment card, there's a whole bunch of creatures and folks behind the protagonist, behind the main character. So it is the same sort of implication. It's just facing another way. And what I was about to say in one of the realizations of the 20th Arcanum is that often there are people to leave behind because we are changing and our circles change. What is important in our life changes, and we can't hold on to people that just don't support where we're going or don't understand where we're going. And so all of this just feels like a wonderful reflection to do before we step into 2026 and readings for 2026 and readings for our card of the year for 2026. We are forever changed. And remember, this is at a cellular level as well, too. At a cellular level, I mean, we're always changing at a cellular level, but this physical, mental, spiritual, emotional awakening, whatever level you are at, is right. Can I say it's ripe for stepping into fully? And this is not just about reflecting on 2026, but reflecting on and advice for reflecting on numbers themselves. So I want to go back. So when I started creating my tarot courses, I wanted to do them differently. I wanted to do them in a way that made sense to me and how I began to build my mandala of the tarot. And so in that course, I start with new beginnings and the number 1, reflecting on the 0 and things like that, rather than studying individual cards. So when you study a number like the number 10, you will remember to reflect on all of the 10s when a 10 comes up in a reading. It can add so much to your repertoire as a reader to really sit with this. Now, this is one of my favorite awakening cards, and that is because I have spent time in India, and I do have a Tulsi Mala, and the Tulsi Malas are associated with Krishna, and my Tulsi Mala was given to me when I was initiated into the Satyananda lineage and given my name Sadhana. And there is there's a discipline, there's a loneliness, there's I don't know what it is. It's just like there can be a fear as well too, that if I step into this, if I step into and commit to my spiritual evolution, that things are going to change. And, I lost my husband along the way somewhere. Didn't understand where I was going and how I was growing, and wasn't the wife that he loved anymore. And so this is okay, right? Change. This is a reflection on change and life and all of that. And I have come to this rather comfortable relationship with change. So Letitia Guthrie is the author of the Herb Crafter Tarot, And she writes really beautifully. There's so much wisdom in this deck, and also reminds us that in small ways we can connect with change through the holy days, and that those holy days may be different depending on your faith. All of us can connect to the holy days of the Sabbats, for sure, the solstices and the equinoxes. And by honoring those days, we have an opportunity to really reflect on change. And I will be doing that for sure for winter solstice. Okay. And like I was saying, the 10s in this deck are quite unique in that they are, kind of love this one. There's this idea of going forward. And in the 10 of Cups, to me, it looks like she's placing that last cup in the sky. And once that last cup is placed in the sky, she will be able to go forward. It's like she's done. She's done. So beautiful. And this 10 of Swords, I just love how the pathway is opening up. And I know other creators do things like that, but I just thought this is a kind of a refreshing way to look at the 10. That doesn't mean for a moment you can't turn around and celebrate with all those that are still presently with you. But I want to inspire others to feel more comfortable with change, and to know that that expression, I think, one thing that would be really good to do would be have divine doors. That's a lovely oracle deck, handy for this, right? Okay, so tomorrow is a 1910-1 day. I will make sure to remember that. I want to go back because everybody's commenting on something that Donna said. Beautiful comments here. I think this was the one. LOL, I call my guides the clock crew because of the constant numerology and date messages I receive. Yeah, it is so poignant. Donna also says, I know that I'm never alone, even though there aren't any incarnate beings that live with me. I do that too. And there's this little trick. If you slightly blur your vision, if you, especially if there's a plain wall behind, if there's a lot of artwork and stuff, it's very hard to do. But if you don't have a lot of fluorescent light, our meeting rooms are just not designed for spiritual work. But if you do have a plainish wall and the lighting isn't too bright, and you blur your vision and you look across the conference table at your colleague, you can start to see different energies with them. It doesn't actually take too much work to do that, and I love doing that sort of thing. I used to, back in the days when I was going to church, I would sit. The last church that I attended, the seating, it wasn't pews on the ground level. It was in a theater style, and so you could look down to the stage where the minister was speaking, and there was black or dark green curtains, or probably black curtains behind, and I would kind of do that. And we had visiting guest speakers, guest ministers, guest preachers, and I would blur my vision and look at their energy. And it was so interesting to see the different kind of energy and crew that was with each celebrant. Yeah, really love doing that. I have also, in doing this exercise, been told that what you are actually seeing is the past lives of that person. So that's an interesting way to look at it as well. Okay, so I am going to do a reading, a reflection for this 6th day of December 2026. At 25 minutes in, and I know my intention was to keep these broadcasts to 20 to 30 minutes, so sorry I'm going a little over today. If anybody ever gets information about this deck, and it's such a difficult name to pronounce. It's like JV, the publisher of this deck. I have linked it in the description below, the Amazon link anyway. But it just feels like something coming out of, and I don't know why, I just feel like it's coming out of Korea. And I simply want to ask about the number 10 and help me to better understand, help us to better understand at this time what this number 10 is presenting for us, and if there's another keyword that the number 10 wants us to know. I also want to say, let's not always make the number 10 a number 1, right? Let's be in the number 10. I think we are quick to reduce it and say, oh yeah, it's also a number 1, but let's let it be a number 10. Thank you, Gerald. Let's let it be a number 10. All right, so first, I want to talk about color. So it does feel like a very watery color in the background. And what I am noticing is that's this red fabric on the horse, draped on the horse. And it reminds me of the energy within the knights. And even though this horse isn't going anywhere, and this horse is standing upon a cement platform, much like we often see in a King of Cups, the red is quite intentional. And whether you connect the knights, I mean, for me, the knights are the element of air. The kings are the element of fire. But I still gather, I still feel with the red color, the energy of motion and going forward, and the work and the mission that these knights are on. And this is so the number 10 wants us to know that one of the reasons for change has to do with moving energy. If you've worked with me, you know that emotion is simply about moving energy in motion. And that when we don't emote, when we don't move energy, it becomes stagnant and we become unwell. And so one of the main reasons for really reflecting on the number 10 and working with the number 10 is to help us to move energy, right? You can't fake it. Okay. So this is such a character in the Emperor card. And we have something really beautiful happening here. All of these cards, to me, are moving in the direction of the astrological wheel, right? They're all moving in the same direction. They're all moving counterclockwise, and I really like that. The Emperor is standing there saying, it's just, I feel like it's a, not know-it-all, but of course, this is about change. And you know that poem that I read at the beginning? There was something here that just reminds me so much about this character here. Upstream, downstream, it's all one living thing, breathing, blood pumping, flesh and soil, water and oil, creature of being. We're connected, and not by the roadways so much as by the waterways, the earthways. Like it or not, we're all downstream. And I think the Emperor knows so much about creating and building, and understands the importance of being aware of all of these pathways. And yes, you have, Saskia. And what did you say here? Interesting observation. And so what I'm looking at is the Emperor, the Knight, all moving towards this Ten of Pentacles. And Ten of Pentacles is such an interesting place where we acknowledge a doneness. Can we say that? A doneness, a completion in Malkut, and that indeed this is about going on and going forward. There's a red in the Emperor's cloak as well too. And I want to keep repeating this word, responsibility. The more that we take responsibility for our lifestyle, the easier it's going to become. And yes, we co-create with the Creator, with all of our crew, but we can't just sit back and let it happen. We need to be on board and be a team with our crew going forward. And there's something about that Emperor that just says, yeah, I know all this. I know, or maybe here's something else too. You know that kind of person who says, yes, I know, you've talked to me about this so many times. Okay, maybe I have to listen to you this time. That kind of energy. And of course, the figure in the Ten of Pentacles is one who would be perfectly comfortable with leaving the material behind. And yet, notice, are there 10 on the ground? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 10 on the ground, but there is also a luminary ahead. And what if we leave the material behind and focus on the luminary that is ahead? Whether it is the full moon, whether it is the sun, whether it is God or a spirit, it is a light that leads us ahead. The Pope in medieval period used that black pointy hats to identify Jewish folks. Later, because of the association with dark arts and evil, was applied to witches. Interesting. Thanks, Donna. Okay, so just a few reflections on number study and really understanding that the numbers are energy themselves. They are. And powerful energies. And symbol is just, you can work with the number 10, right, as a number 10, the Arabic number. You can work with the Roman numeral and work with the power of the X. And I'm sure in other ways and other scripts, the number 10 can be written in other ways as well too. So you might want to reflect on that. That would be really interesting. Because I'm just thinking about in Japanese script and other scripts as well too. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be back at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern tomorrow. And then when I get back to the weekdays, I will resume at 6 a.m. Pacific, which is 9 a.m. Eastern. And have a lovely rest of your day. Take good care. Namaste.